Good morning, everyone. My name is Jonah Toy. I'm here with the Tulsa Authority for Economic Opportunity, and I'm the Small Business and Entrepreneurship Fellow. So, as the son of two entrepreneurs, I know how difficult it is to start your own business. And we here at the city and Teo are dedicated to making that process as smooth and as easy as possible. So, one of the programs that I work on a lot is the Small Business Enterprise Program. And so what that does is that ensures that 10% of the engineering and construction contracts go to local businesses. And over the past 5 years, we've had more than $10.5 million in contracts that have been awarded to local small businesses through this program. So we're really excited for any business that wants to come to the city and work with us. And that's why we have our Global Entrepreneurship Week this week. So if you want to learn more about the Small Business Enterprise Program, just go to the cityoftulsa.org/economic development. Just cityoftulsa.org/economic development, and it's going to have all the information that you need on there. But after you look at that website, we'll go ahead and go to today's videos, which mainly focus on commodity purchasing and housing repair and rehab. So hope you're able to learn something new, and we look forward to doing business with you. Thank you.
I'm Larry Hood. I manage the purchasing division, and we buy pretty much everything in terms of supplies, equipment, and services, except for what Brant presented to you and except for what you just heard about from Anika. So everything except for architectural engineering services and construction and the grant-funded home improvement programs. We buy everything else. What that amounts to is a wide range of goods and services. There's supplies, equipment, and services. Supplies can be anything from car parts to salt for the roads. The equipment can be anything from just a weed eater or something all the way up to a very expensive vacuum truck that cleans out the sewer lines, $500,000 unit. It can be anything from on the service side, from professional services to mowing the grass, including the stuff that Kevin talked about. Basically, in the fiscal year 2018, which is the first full fiscal year that we've completed, the most recent one, we had 3,000 requisitions from all the city departments in total of excess of $60 million. The flip side of that is those 3,000 recs on average, 80% of them were less than $25,000. And our process for things that are less than $25,000 is an informal quote process. It's not we don't make you jump through quite as many hoops as some of our formal processes. And so it's good to pay attention to what kind of requests that we've put out there. If it's an RFQ process, it's just typically emailed to the list of vendors in the system, and the document itself has everything you should need to know in order to turn your price in for it. Purchasing administers also about 400 contracts where we spend on each individual item or group of items over $100,000 per year. And those 400 contracts, frankly, are the bulk of the dollars that we spend on an annual basis. Those are done on a formal competitive process. Anyone can submit a bid or quote or proposal to purchasing. They're evaluated based on the terms and conditions in the particular solicitation document. So I can't emphasize too much how important it is to read everything in that request, whether it's an informal 2-page RFQ or a 50-page request for proposal. You need to read everything. If you don't understand something, send questions on that to the buyer in writing so we can respond to it. We have a system, an automated system, that sends out email notice based on NIGP commodity codes. NIGP is the National Institute of Governmental Purchasing, and these are like category codes for the different supplies, equipment, and services that we buy. And in order to keep from bombarding you with requests for things you don't sell, we allow people to register by commodity code, and then the system emails everybody who's signed up typically for particular commodity code when we're buying that. So if you do mowing, we're not going to send you something for, janitorial. This website, by the way, this is the best way to get plugged into the purchasing process. Is go to cityofTulsa.org and you can go to Selling to the City, and there are links there to how to register and various other things. This is registration as a vendor. The form that you need and the instructions on what to do with it are right there on that website at that link. As I mentioned before, formal solicitations, they're things that are $25,000 or more, are posted on our website. They're advertised in the newspaper. We also notify anybody we can identify who we think might be qualified to do the work. So we do our best to include everybody who might want to bid on something. Those documents are all available at that link right there, Current Bid Opportunities, and you should be able to download that document and have everything that you need to respond to our bid request. If you have any questions, I can't emphasize this enough, send your questions in writing to the buyer, because they're the ones who are responsible for collecting questions from everyone and getting the answers back out to everybody. All the instructions that you should need should be included in the bid document or request for quote. If you have any questions, do not communicate with anyone else. Just email the buyer. If they don't get back to you, you can email me. All of our contacts, by the way, are on the website too, so you can get email addresses for everyone in my staff. Formal solicitations are due at the city clerk's office by close of business on Wednesday, and then the following morning we open them at a public bid opening meeting at 8:30 in the council office on the second floor at City Hall, 175 East 2nd. Purchasing bids are generally evaluated based on the criteria in the ordinance, but you have to pay particular attention to the solicitation. You can imagine we're going to evaluate a bid for mowing quite differently than for banking services. They're completely different qualifications, requirements, everything. There's different things that are important in those services. So you have to read the detail again in the document. The list of what's available generally to us to use to evaluate bids is nice, but that's not the critical thing. You want to know what that particular document and service or good requires to know how you're going to be evaluated. The length of time it takes to evaluate and award bids in purchasing is all over the map. It can be everything from just a few days on an RFQ to literally over a year. We replaced our complete financial system for the city, and the process to develop the requirements took almost a year. And then there was the process for bidding that and evaluating the proposals and getting to contract after that. So it could have been as much as 2 years for the whole process. That's a little bit of a, wide range. The key is if you have any questions, stay in contact with your buyer and try to be patient. The more complicated it is, the more time we're going to take doing it typically. City's payment terms are net 30, and the biggest single thing I've seen that will keep your payment from typically being handled promptly by the city is our accounts payable department may not have seen the invoice. So we tell everyone to send your invoices to AP Invoices with a reference to the purchase order or contract and any contact. If you're working with a particular person at the city, throw Kevin's name down there. He'll get you hooked up with the right person. Again, all the terms and conditions for a particular request that we send out are going to be in that document. And that's the main link that you need to go to. If you haven't ever done the business with the City of Tulsa's purchasing, go to that link, Selling to the City, and it'll get you started.
My name is Brant Pitchford. I'm a supervisor with the Housing Division. Working in neighborhoods, we'll call it WIN many times, so don't let that throw you. We have two particular programs that are grant funded through HUD. So we have a little bit of a special arrangement through our process. Normal contracts, you go through purchasing, you become, go through the commodity codes and you go through certain contracts released through purchasing. Because ours is a federal grant, we are exempt from the city's procurement process. So for my demonstration, you will be contacting the wind department directly to get on our contractors list if you fall within an area. We have an emergency repair program, which is a $5,000 repair program for low-income residents. We do about 300 to 350 projects a year. We have a rehab loan program, which is actually should be $35,000 maximum rehab, and we do about 30 or 40 per year. Types of contractors we're looking for are electricians, plumbers, mechanical, roofing, and general contractors. We'll get an updated slide for you as well. It's actually cityoftulsa.org/housing. It's a lot easier to remember, and it's a little more self-intuitive to get to. And that's where this application will be online. Don't let it scare you. You download it, it's about 20 pages, but there's only about 3 pages you fill out. The rest of it's for you to keep for your information so you'll know what to do as we move forward. It's a fairly simple application. All the stuff that HUD requires us to have on record for you, your DUNS number, your federal ID number. We do a background check from the basis of a criminal and a credit check. We're not checking for your credit score. We're making sure that you weren't ABC Plumbing and went bankrupt and owed everybody money and now you've opened up as XYZ Plumbing. So that's all we're checking. A few do's and don'ts. We're the same way as Kevin described. We're going to be working on private properties. Because of our program being unique, you'll be signing a contract with the homeowner. The city of Tulsa pays the bill. So you need to be a very good communicator, be professional, be on time, be courteous. Don't do any side work. If there's any work that needs to be done that's beyond the scope of work, we can either address it through a change order or we may have to do a new application. She may not have enough money for it. The homeowner may not have enough money. And again, we don't use any seconds or used products. You have to have general liability insurance of $500,000 per occurrence and $1 million aggregate. Workers' comp required for all contractors, and vehicle liability insurance. Can't be debarred by HUD. If you're debarred by HUD, you know it, because you've probably been sued by HUD. You've probably been in some federal court with them. So you have to have an email that you can print from. We have a lot of people that, I've got a phone, I can get my emails, but you got to be able to print that PDF file, fill it out, and get it back to us. And then anything that requires a license, be it electrician, plumber, mechanical, lead-based paint, you have to have those required license or registrations. Again, our funding is federal. We use emails, our primary source of contact. We do Section 3 reports, which is a very simple report we do at the end of each year. Staff will walk you through those. Receiving pay is a little more unique from the aspect of when you submit your pay request to the city, we have to send an inspector out to make sure the work was done properly, even permitted work. So then once that work's confirmed done, then we process that in through the normal process of Munis and get you paid through finance. We have what we call our Spec Book. It's a collection of specs we have assembled through the last 25, 30 years. So you will see a scope of work coming to you in a bid via email. Anything that needs a permit, or if you're in doubt that it needs a permit, put it in your bid. Again, same as Kevin described, change orders. Do not do any changes to your scope of work without coming through the wind department to get an approved change order. Again, emergency repairs, they're smaller, quicker grants. Usually they're more specified to the division or the discipline that we're going with. So if we need a hot water tank, we're going to send that out to plumbers. If we need a 100 amp service, we're going to send that out to electricians. And again, emergency needs emergency. Don't bid on a project that you can't do in a quick fashion. We use a cost reasonableness to compare our prices. In-house staff does an estimate, and any bid within 10% above or below can be considered a good bid. So the next slide will describe, for example, if we get a bid we estimate it at $5,000. The window's $4,500 to $3,500. So contractor A is too low, contractor D is too high. So the only ones that are eligible is B, C, and E. The rehab loan program is from $1,000 up to $3,500 in repairs. We send the bids out with the same cost reasonableness concept. There's a $5,000 what we call general property improvement built in, so owners can't, because we're putting out a loan against their house on this program. So we want to make sure if there's any other things the homeowner wants done that's legitimate issues that help improve the quality of life, we will do those. So, homeowner will select the contractors on the rehab program. They'll select a minimum of four contractors. We have a contractor's rehab book. If you go to the next slide. This is something we keep in-house that a contractor can give us 2 pages to show their profile, some photos of their work, so it helps them select you from our book. That's just a blow up of the same book and the photos there. Again, cost reasonableness is the same as described on the emergency repair. If you go to the next slide. Our estimate was say $31,800. The window is $28,620 to $34,980. So contractor A and B are not eligible because they're outside of the cost reasonableness. In the packet you download online for your application, we have our contractor guidelines. Within those contractor guidelines are basically our rules for the contractors. Just different things we describe as you read through it. That's one of the parts of the packet you'll keep for your own records. So the biggest thing we like to push through our program is also networking. We have a lot of general contractors that need plumbers. So they go within our program to network with each other and vice versa.